Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Capability in terms of personnel and materiel that affect the capacity to fight a war. We faced an army of great strength. Physical energy or intensity. It was destroyed by the strength of the gale. The power to induce the taking of a course of action or the embracing of a point of view by means of argument or entreaty. The strength of his argument settled the matter. Permanence by virtue of the power to resist stress or force. The amount of energy transmitted, as by acoustic or electromagnetic radiation. They measured the station's signal strength. An asset of special worth or utility. Capacity to produce strong physiological or chemical effects. The strength of the drinks. The condition of financial success. The strength of the company's stock in recent weeks. The property of being physically or mentally strong. Fatigue sapped his strength. Capability in terms of personnel and materiel that affect the capacity to fight a war. Capability in terms of personnel and materiel that affect the capacity to fight a war. Politicians have neglected our military posture. Capability in terms of personnel and materiel that affect the capacity to fight a war. Characteristic way of bearing one's body. Stood with good posture. Capability in terms of personnel and materiel that affect the capacity to fight a war. Politicians have neglected our military posture. A rationalized mental attitude. The arrangement of the body and its limbs. Assume a posture as for artistic purposes. Behave affectedly or unnaturally in order to impress others. She postured and made a total fool of herself. Of a law, having legal validity. Group of people willing to obey orders. A public force is necessary to give security to the rights of citizens. Physical energy or intensity. He hit with all the force he could muster. A put-out of a base runner who is required to run. The put-out is accomplished by holding the ball while touching the base to which the runner must advance before the runner reaches that base. The shortstop got the runner at second on a force. To cause to do through pressure or necessity, by physical, moral or intellectual means. She forced him to take a job in the city. Force into or from an action or state, either physically or metaphorically. Urge or force, a person, to an action, constrain or motivate. Move with force. Impose urgently, importunately, or inexorably. She forced her diet fads on him. Squeeze like a wedge into a tight space. A unit that is part of some military service. He sent Caesar a force of 6,000 men. One possessing or exercising power or influence or authority. May the force be with you. An act of aggression, as one against a person who resists. He may accomplish by craft in the long run what he cannot do by force and violence in the short one. Take by force. A group of people having the power of effective action. He joined forces with a band of adventurers. A powerful effect or influence. The force of his eloquence easily persuaded them. Do forcibly, exert force. Don't force it. Physics, the influence that produces a change in a physical quantity. Force equals mass times acceleration. Physical energy or intensity. A government has not the vitality and forcefulness of a living man. The power to induce the taking of a course of action or the embracing of a point of view by means of argument or entreaty. Permanence by virtue of the power to resist stress or force. They advertised the durability of their products. Permanence by virtue of the power to resist stress or force. Permanence by virtue of the power to resist stress or force. Chromatic purity. Freedom from dilution with white and hence vivid in hue. The amount of energy transmitted, as by acoustic or electromagnetic radiation. He adjusted the intensity of the sound. The magnitude of sound, usually in a specified direction. High level or degree, the property of being intense. The amount of energy transmitted, as by acoustic or electromagnetic radiation. Used as a direction in music, to be played relatively loudly. An asset of special worth or utility. Cooking is his forte. Used chiefly as a direction or description in music, loud, with force. The forte passages in the composition. A musical composition or musical passage to be performed loudly. The stronger part of a sword blade between the hilt and the foible. An asset of special worth or utility. In a hand, the suit having the most cards. An occupation for which you are especially well suited. In law he found his true métier. An asset of special worth or utility. An asset of special worth or utility. A distinguishing trait. The special line of work you have adopted as your career. An asset of special worth or utility. A distinguishing trait. The special line of work you have adopted as your career. An asset of special worth or utility. An asset of special worth or utility. A long suit including high cards. Power to be effective. The quality of being able to bring about an effect. Capacity to produce strong physiological or chemical effects. The state of being potent. A male's capacity to have sexual intercourse. The inherent capacity for coming into being. The power or right to give orders or make decisions. A place of potency in the state. Capacity to produce strong physiological or chemical effects. The toxin's potency. The quality of being capable, physically or intellectually or legally. An aptitude that may be developed. The quality of being capable, physically or intellectually or legally. He worked to the limits of his capability. An aptitude that may be developed. The susceptibility of something to a particular treatment. The capability of a metal to be fused. High level or degree, the property of being intense. Possession of controlling influence. His powerfulness was concealed by a gentle facade. Energy made available by the flow of electric charge through a conductor. The power went out around midnight. Of a government or government official, holding an office means being in power. During his first year in power. A state powerful enough to influence events throughout the world. A mathematical notation indicating the number of times a quantity is multiplied by itself. A very wealthy or powerful businessman. Possession of the qualities, especially mental qualities, required to do something or get something done. Danger heightened his powers of discrimination. Possession of controlling influence. The deterrent power of nuclear weapons. One possessing or exercising power or influence or authority. The mysterious presence of an evil power. Physical strength. Physics. The rate of doing work, measured in watts, equals joule per second. Supply the force or power for the functioning of. The gasoline powers the engines. The property of being able to exist for an indefinite duration. The property of being able to exist for an indefinite duration. A number assigned to the ratio of two quantities. Two quantities are of the same order of magnitude if one is less than 10 times as large as the other. The number of magnitudes that the quantities differ is specified to within a power of 10. Relative importance. A problem of the first magnitude. The property of relative size or extent, whether large or small. They tried to predict the magnitude of the explosion. Involving advantage or good. A plus, or positive, factor. A useful or valuable quality. The arithmetic operation of summing. Calculating the sum of two or more numbers. 4 plus 3 equals 7. On the positive side or higher end of a scale. A plus value.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.